Hello, my name is Daniel Raker. I'm actually going to be showing a couple of different techniques to do an exercise, the row, okay? So when we're doing the row is actually for the back muscles, the upper back muscles. We're going to be hitting the muscles like the rhomboid, the slightly into the trapezius muscle, which is going to be located in the upper back, upper neck area. When you're doing this, we do want to try to minimize some of that area that we're going to be engaging in terms of the upper trapezius muscles. We don't want to elevate our shoulders and act like we're trying to only kind of push on that area. As we do this, we want to think about how our body is active. We want to think about our core. We want to think about how the shoulders are displacing the weight, how our hips are aligned. If all of these positions are correct, the row is going to feel really good. It's going to feel like our mid-back, the rhomboid area right behind the shoulder blades is engaged. We're going to feel our arms pulling. We're going to feel our core. These are the specific areas that you want to feel when you're doing an exercise like the row. I'm going to show off the row on the TRX. I'm also going to show off the row on bands and different ways that we can potentially modify the row to be a little bit easier as we go through. So first things first, we're going to show off the row on the TRX. Now, when you're doing the row on the TRX, you can see that your stance has to be pretty neutral, meaning your feet are going to be pointed straight towards the anchor point. Your back is going to be making sure that you're not bending your hips forward. You don't want to be pushing your butt out behind you. You want to keep your hips aligned with your body. So I want to lean back in this position and then release my arms forward and then pull back again. So that this way I can really get that pinch into and behind the shoulder blades. Okay? So as we're doing this, we're pulling ourselves up and we're releasing our arms and going forward. Now, if we want to make this a little tougher, we can then go towards the anchor point with our feet. We can just walk forward and then pull up right here. So now I've increased my resistance that I'm feeling in the row. Now the opposite would be true a little bit if we wanted to make it into a modified, easier workout for those of us that maybe find this exercise a little bit difficult. So we can stand up a little taller, okay? We can even get this position right here, and I'll show you on the side. I kind of brought my leg behind me so I can use my leg to help pull up, okay? So I'm kind of using this leg to push me back up from this position, while the other leg is straight, and I'm just manipulating that body position in order to make it a little bit easier. So that's the way that we can utilize the TRX to effectively do the rows or the back exercises here. Now, as I said, we're going to also use bands. And for the bands, we're basically going to do this. We're going to use a moderate resistance, okay? Now, you could do this seated, you could do this standing, and I'm going to kind of show a little bit of both. The important thing is that the point that you put it on, you want it to be sort of like mid-range to the body. You don't want it to be too high, you don't want it to be too low, because those are going to be targeting different areas of the body. They're going to not really give you the same position that you want to be in order to do this row effectively. All right, so what we're gonna do is when we're doing the row, we can do a couple different stances with the feet. That can change depending on how we want to feel this row, and not only that, but it can depend on your modifications that you need in order to make it harder or easier, okay? So right here, I can simply give myself a little bit of a split stance position to make it so that when I pull back with this band, I have much greater balance because I don't have to sit there and rely on my core as much, okay? So if it's a little bit, if you're maybe not as strong in the core, or you feel like you need a little bit better balance, you could do this position to increase that balance or that strength or stability in the core. If you have good balance and you want to get a little bit more of a challenge, you can pull back with even feet, and that's going to cause you to potentially be pulled forward in your position. Now you have to react in the core to hold yourself steady and pull back in that row. Now the other way, as I was saying, we can modify this and change it so that instead of being here, we can do it seated. So for some, standing in that position, might not be so easy. You might feel a little too unbalanced even when you try to do the split stance. So you can sit down, put your feet in front of you, and then pull in this position right here. And what you're trying to do is keep your core, your back, everything very straight. Your legs should have a slight bend in them. And what the bend is going to do is take some of the pressure off your legs and your back. So if you keep your legs straight, that's going to put a lot of strain on the back of the legs, especially if you don't have particularly flexible hamstrings. Okay, the back of the legs, the hamstrings. So right here, get your chest up, back straight, and then pull all the way through to the end of the range of motion. If you don't feel like you can get that full range of motion, use a lighter band. So that would definitely help you to complete the range of motion for the row, okay? So we just showed off a few different ways that we can kind of make that row accessible for many people. So doing it on the TRX, doing it on the band, showing off different ways of modifying it or making it tougher, depending on your level. So plenty of different variety in order to do this particular exercise. I hope you found all that information pretty helpful and that it explained maybe some of those details that you might have questions about. And if you have any other questions, you can always feel free to contact me. I have the website hybridtrainingllc.com. You can also check us out on YouTube, which is again going to be Hybrid Training LLC on YouTube. And if you need to email me, it's the same, hybridtraining-llc.com. And one thing that I wanted to point out is that I'm definitely available to anybody who sends in any questions, comments. I'm here to help and, answer any of those questions that you might have. So I hope you found this information helpful, useful, and until next time, I'll see you then.